And we're live. What's up, everybody? Wild week for the United States. Let's go.
You can say that.
So, random question. What kind of, for anybody watching that doesn't know, Daniel played in the NFL, tight end. And I say that to say, what kind of training do you do now that you're not, I guess, training for the league or whatever? Like, do you still do workouts based on what you would do with? There he is. Let's go.
What's going on?
A little surprise visit. We didn't think John was going to make it tonight.
No, I wouldn't miss it for the world.
So I was asking Daniel, now that he's not in the league, what kind of workout structure does he follow? Like, do you still do like speed and agility work? Do you do just your regular like bodybuilding style workouts, CrossFit workouts? Like, what does your training look like, if any? I mean, if you still train.
He's a big Tybo guy.
Type what?
Tybo.
He's too young.
I don't even know what that is, dude.
Tybo
Double time
is like back when there was video cassettes.
Okay.
Kind of like it's like what your soccer mom would put on to lose baby weight. Like very what's the one guy's name? Who wore the little shorts and he had the curly hair? Like Richard Simmons, is that what you said, dear? Richard Simmons.
That sounds right.
Yeah. Yeah, like you could do it. All right. Oh, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 4 and 1 and 4. Yeah. Yeah, she's got one playing on right now. That's why she said that. No, I'm just kidding.
Good for her.
But, go ahead, Daniel. Tell us your work.
I'm not doing that. So it's ebbed and flowed a little. I've kind of tried to figure out what exactly it's going to look like. I would say I've settled on a CrossFit-ish type workout that isn't quite as like crazy with some of the gymnastic movements or anything like that. It's just a little more typical lifting stuff, but I try to keep it like the actual lift itself somewhere between 30 and 45 minutes. And I'd like to do that 3 times a week, but it's changed a little bit because I'm considering playing just this spring in the UFL. So then I would have to like up it a bit. And I'm trying to like work out with my neighbors, kind of use it as like a bit of a evangelism tool. So I've kind of trying to meet them where they're at a little bit. So it's been all over the place, but long story short, I would say it looks a little more like CrossFit than it does what I used to do. What are you training for right now? John said you're looking at you're like doing a marathon training right now?
Yeah, my marathon is next weekend.
Jeez.
Woo! It's
ready?
Wild, dude. Yeah, I guess I'm about as ready as I'm gonna get.
You ready for long, boring pain?
I did 20 last weekend, and it was rough.
Did you consider just running 6.2 more?
I tried not to think about it whenever I got done, because it was like the last 2 miles. If I wouldn't have had somebody, really the last 4 miles, if I wouldn't have had somebody running with me, I would have been very close to quitting for sure. Which I think, I don't know because I've never done one, but I think that kind of like obviously it's going to be different, but kind of like a CrossFit competition, like you get that adrenaline when there's a bunch of people around you, you know. And I'm hoping that like being in a big group like that, like if I can find some people who we're kind of pacing each other, like we're running the same pace, and maybe get into conversation or something. Like if I can keep up with like a group, I feel like that'll kind of help.
What
Like if
pace
I
are
can
you
pick
trying to
somebody
hold?
out around 9 minutes.
9. Yeah.
I'm trying to do sub 4 hours.
Yeah.
That's my goal.
Do you wanna make a bet on because my 100,000 meter bike erg was like 352. We can bet if you. I feel like those are pretty comparable, don't you? I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
they're like
absolutely.
the exact same thing as far as like accomplishment to equal accomplishment.
I remember when you did that because I was keeping up with it on Instagram and I was like, dude, there's no way. That's crazy.
I couldn't sleep. I was like, I'm just gonna punish myself for doing this.
Did Hopper ever do it?
Yeah, he did it. I actually beat his time, which is it kind
Yeah,
of
you didn't have to
of
do it, right?
No, I didn't have to do it, but I was mad that I was full. Like, here's the thing. Daniel doesn't know about this, so do you know who Jason Hopper is, Daniel?
Yeah, I've actually heard that name before.
Okay, but I just heard the name, don't know who he is.
Yes.
Okay, one of the top CrossFit guys. He is actually very into cycling. The only other guy that I know that's into cycling. And he likes this guy named Jonas Vingegaard. Okay. Jonas is the best mountain climber. He's very skinny. He weighs maybe 132 pounds. I think that's what he weighs. I'm a big Tadej Pogacar fan. Okay. He's a little bit bigger, but he can do everything. He's probably the second best mountain climber and then like first place in everything else. Jonas won the year previous and Tadej won the year, like a year before that. Okay. And we made a bet on every single stage and we were just tallying points on every single stage of the Tour de France. You picked 3 guys. You got a point if you pick the winner, or 2 points if you pick the winner, 1 point if you pick the guy on the podium. And you just keep a running total all the way up. He's up by like 5 points going into the last day. But at the last stage is a time trial, and we already made the agreement on a time trial. You can pick 5 guys. So essentially, I have to pick the order exactly perfect to even have a chance to win. Like, I've lost. He did it. I lost. I was fully mentally prepared, and the loser has to do 100,000 meters on a bike erg without stopping. And you had to do the gradient. You had to put your damper on. You know what a bike erg, you know how that works, right? With a damper, you had to put your damper on whatever the gradient of the mountain was for the Queen stage. So you basically did the hardest stage that they did, but on your bike erg. So like if they're on a 6% gradient, you're on a 6 on the damper. And you know, when they go up a mountain, you're on a 10 for about, 40 minutes. Like it's not the greatest. And if it gets over like 15, then you had to do a standing 10. Like you're not allowed to sit down because you can't go to 15 on your bike erg, right? So I was mentally ready to do it, is the thing. I've already mentally prepared myself. I already started doing like longer things on the bike erg. I've already gotten used to watching like movies while I'm biking slow, stuff like that. Because about stage 15, I was like, okay, I need to get ready to do this because it's not just something you can flip on. And then miracle happened. I went 5 for 5. It was the greatest day of all time. He cried. It was amazing. And I ended up winning. The games is like in 3 weeks. He can't do this now. So I have to wait for him to do this punishment because it's long enough. Like you got to take time off like after it. Does that make sense? Like it's going to F you up a little bit.
Yeah.
So he can't do it right now. And I was just antsy. And the Tour de France we just got off the Tour de France, right? Like I'm all like in bike mode. And there was one day I fell asleep at 6 p.m. and I woke up at 10 p.m. Leslie was working, so she didn't I woke up when she got home, right? So like it's not her fault, all my fault. And I was like, I can't believe I've done this. My whole sleep track's gonna be off now. Like I'm wide awake. I can't go to sleep. And then at like 2 a.m, I was like, I'm just gonna ride that. I'm just gonna do 100,000 meters on the bike erg. I'm just gonna do it. And then I basically just watched the whole Tour de France over again and then just did it. and it was a terrible decision. It was really bad. But
How long were you out for?
what do you mean?
Like after that, time to recover. How many days were you
Like
out?
a couple days.
Yeah. Jeez.
I like the next day I didn't do anything. The day after that, I did a very light, like I did the class workout, and that was it. And I did the class workout like a couple times, and then I was fine.
Yeah, you're psycho.
Just messes with your hips a little bit. Like you just gotta like that stuff's gotta calm down. There was one part, which I mean, Brock, you will probably feel this in your marathon, just in a different way, where I could pick the kilometer mark. It was 67 to 72 kilometers. I had so much pain in my taint that like I started trying to like stand up, because you have to build a little bit of a tolerance for that, like to bike a long time. And I had biking shorts. I got all the stuff you're supposed to have, like, and then I started standing up so I could give, relieve pressure off of that. And then my quads started cramping, so I'd have to sit back down, and then my tank couldn't take it, so I have to stand back up. And there was 5 kilometers, like, where I was just up and down, and I legitimately was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to finish this. I'm about to quit. I really don't think I can do it. Like, it was so, I thought it was never going to end, and then finally, but 72 kilometers, my tank went numb, couldn't feel it anymore, and I was like, great. And then, like we're in business now. I can hang out here for a while because I couldn't feel anything, right? Just had to give my legs a little break. But then it was done. And when he did his, he showed me his time, and it was like 1 minute slower. He didn't even know what my time was, and I was like, I feel like you should do it again, because that was a lot easier than what mine was. Like, for him to have the same time as me, or me beat him, like, he's far more capable. So yeah, I feel like he should do it again. But yeah, that's that story. And I just did it because I went to sleep, and then I was already ready to do it. So I just wanted to waste time. I had to kill time somehow. I was up in the middle of the night, and I had to make myself tired. I felt like I was going to sleep a long time after that. And honestly, it worked. I was nothing messed up at all.
Most normal people would just start reading a book or something.
I didn't want to read a book. I'm not. Wasn't in my Bible
John's
mode
not
at the time.
He's a freaking animal.
No, I'm not at all. I think I'm just dumb sometimes.
Those go hand in
I'm
hand.
about to.
I have a lot of
I'm about
mental
to start.
fortitude in a stupid way.
Mm.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
I don't think
I'm
it's
about to start reading this book. You mentioned reading a book, so it made me think about it. So I just ordered this book. I think the guy's name is James Lawrence, I think is his name. I believe his nickname's like the Iron Cowboy or something like that.
Oh, dude,
He-
he's
he
another
is
thing.
He's on a different level. Like this book it talks about. So he holds the world record. He ran 100 triathlons. I'm sorry, 100 Ironmans, 100 days.
Brock, work on your mic. You're scratching.
Dude, I don't know why this road.
now you're low.
I don't understand. Is it any better?
Yeah, you sound fine now. Yeah, he did 50 Ironmans in 50 states.
Yeah, that was his. Well, that was his first.
50 days, 50 Ironmans, 50 states. It was like
Yeah, that was the first time. The next time he did 100 Ironmans in 100 consecutive days. So he did an Ironman every day for 100 days.
For people who don't know, those take like 8 hours to do.
It's nuts.
How is that humanely possible?
He was falling asleep on the bike. There's a movie about a documentary about him, with like him falling off the bike because he couldn't stay awake. Which I don't know how you can work and then like fall asleep working.
Yeah.
Like as your body's going, like you just got to be so conditioned to like this is what my body does, to do that.
I don't see how you don't get injured.
Oh, I mean, he was really messed up. What are you talking about?
Hmm.
All he did was
Yeah,
like,
Grant, JR, he's cool dude. Cool dude.
he's the most deceptively ripped person you've ever met. Try to get him to take his shirt off. He won't do it. But like,
he hates when
Yeah,
somebody
yeah,
mentions.
yeah, he hates it. Yeah, like he won't take his shirt off or anything. But if you've ever seen him with his shirt off, he's the most ripped man ever.
Yeah, he
Like
is.
skinny boy ripped.
Skinny boy ripped, but his oddly his
But like
biceps are
he
huge
works for it. Yeah.
for his body for sure.
Greatest legless rope climber I've ever seen.
Gosh, why so quick? So we had this would be a good kind of starting point. So we had a comment on last week's. I don't know if you saw it, John.
We got a comment.
We got a comment.
Oh snap! Is that the only one? Or we get multiple.
Just one.
Okay.
Baby steps.
Growing. We are on our way, man.
It says, do you believe that it is okay as a Christian to compete in CrossFit on a Sunday? Not training, but just compete in a local competition. And I think you could take that question and obviously it could be doing a CrossFit competition or playing in a football game or
I think Daniel's the most
anything
qualified to take this answer.
Absolutely. That's kind of where I was going.
I wouldn't say that by any means.
Daniel's like, I took after Tim Tebow. He seemed to be all right with it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, obviously, I don't have a moral issue with it. If I did, that would have been a problem for the last 3 to 4 years of my life. But I think you got to be careful how legalistic you get with stuff, right? Like the Pharisees talking about, hey, is it lawful to heal on a Sabbath with Jesus? And Jesus pretty sternly rebuked them with that stuff. So I think it's what's the pattern of your life and where's your heart at? If you can go to church and you're skipping on it, that's an issue. If your job requires you to be there on that time, on that day, then, it's balancing that and figuring out, just making sure that your priorities are where they're supposed to be, I think. But if you guys got anything to add on that.
Okay, I'll ask a question. I'll follow up to that. What? Hey, it's okay. What about watching church instead of going?
Yeah, I don't think that's. If you're in a bind, sure, but like if you're able to actually go to church, you should be at church, and that's not just for like. It's a command, right? You're supposed to worship with the body of Christ. There's accountability there. There's more than just like attending an event. Church shouldn't just be an event. It's something you go to on a weekly basis, yes, but it should be happening all throughout the week. You should be communing with those people regularly. So it's the body of Christ. Jesus was very clear about that. Like, don't neglect. I think actually I want to say Paul. It's either Paul or Peter directly says like, don't neglect worshiping with the saints. So.
Yeah, I'll say I feel like we get in a bad habit. I'm not say it's completely on me because I'm the head of the family. We get in a bad habit. Like we are looking for a good church, and it's we had such a great church in Cape Girardeau, like an amazing church. So then, like when you move somewhere else, and there's not the same, it's hard. Because like you don't know if you should try to stay for a while or if you should keep looking other places. And we get in the habit of occasionally, like I'll just put on a guy that I like on Sundays and eat Cocoa Pebbles and listen to that guy. Because I feel like I'm getting more out of, because I will listen to that guy and I'm getting more out of it. But it is not the same. But when you're like looking, I feel like it's very tough.
Yeah. Before I jump in on that, Brock, I want to hear your thoughts on it.
I feel like to kind of piggyback off of what John's saying, like, and maybe it's just the way my mind works, but I can kind of relate it to, since I've been kind of training for a marathon, I can kind of relate it to my running. Like, it's a silly example, but if I know that I'm gonna go run and more than a mile or two, like I have to get in my car and I have to go somewhere to run. Like, I can't. A lot, like, there's a girl that goes to our gym. She lives in our neighborhood, and I mean, she's a marathon runner, and she runs around the neighborhood every single day, all the time, for hours. But like, I have to separate like home and working out. You know, I have some weights, and I have a pull-up bar and stuff like that in the garage that I can use if I need it, but I have to. I can't. It's not the same. Like, I can't really get there here at the house, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
It's kind of the same way when I try to watch something online. And again, this is just me. Like, I feel like there's more distractions, at least for me. Like, I'm more easily distracted. I'm more subject to keeping my phone right beside me, and I might start scrolling. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And I'm not saying at all that we don't do that. I mean, there's times that we do the same thing. But for me, like, in same way with me running, like, I have to leave everything here and just go. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's kind of where I stand with it too. Like, I don't think, as far as the working out thing, like, just like you said, I mean, it's priorities. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with it, because I love working out on Sunday afternoons, because I'm not in as much, which working out and doing a competition where you're missing church. I'm assuming that's kind of where the person was coming from.
Yeah, we kind of got off the rail on her question.
Yeah, like, if it's a every once in a while thing, and this can go in a very, very good direction too, because this is something that, especially in the South, something that maybe not just the South, but you'll see where I'm going in a second. Like, with travel baseball, that's a big thing. So if it's a every once in a while thing, sure. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it. And in the NFL, I think that's different, because that's your job. You know what I'm saying? Now, I believe if you're a God-fearing man, if you're a follower of Jesus and you're in the NFL, then there needs to be, in my opinion, there should be another day during the week that you can go communion with believers. You know, whether that be and it doesn't have to be so-and-so Baptist church or so-and-so whatever kind of church, but there should be a small group. There should be a devotion group. There's something where you're keeping each other accountable, where you're communion with each other. You know what I'm saying? So that, I feel like that's a little different scenario, because it is your career, it is your livelihood. But if, for example, if I just start working out on Sunday mornings instead of going to church, or doing a local competition every Sunday, yeah, that's a problem, because that's putting fitness and working out, competition, whatever, that's putting that above Christ.
Yeah, and to like add to the NFL stuff, like, that's 18 weeks, right? The other, I'm doing terrible at math here. I should do better, but 34 weeks of the year, right? What are you doing? So there's no excuses in that regard. But I agree with you. It's the habit. It's the thought process. Like, are you someone where, like, I mean, we all have kids, so this is going to come up eventually, but are you someone where your kid has 8 tournaments scheduled over the course of 4 months? Are you going to be missing church every single time? Or is it like, well, hey, church is a priority here. You're going to ride with this person. I'll catch up later. This one I understand because it's out of state. We'll see what we can do here. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I think, as a parent, I think you should go into it and set those expectations with the coaches. Like there's a guy that works with me. He's a big follower of Christ, and so he's got 3 kids, three, I believe. Well, his oldest daughter and his middle daughter, they both play volleyball and they both play tournament ball, and they go to tournaments. I mean, a good bit, but he's told his coaches or her coaches up front, like, we'll come and we'll play Friday night and we'll play all day Saturday, but we won't be there Sunday morning because so like, for example, 2 weekends ago, they played in Rock Hill, which is about an hour and a half away from where we're at. And they played all day Saturday, and the tournament was also all day Sunday. They drove up there Saturday, played, and then drove back Saturday night because of church Sunday morning. Like they've set that standard with the coaches and with the kids. Like, this is a lot more important than this game that you're playing, And I mean, to me, stuff like that speaks volumes to me, like real examples like that,
Yeah.
Pull the old Joshua out on him. As for me and mine, we will serve the Lord.
And that's
great. That's a great verse. Honestly, I feel like that's a very BA verse.
And it's got to be tough, like, because I mean, like with you, Daniel. What do you have? How many? You got 2 kids?
Mm-hmm.
Boy and a girl, 2 girls, 2 boys, 2 boys. So, did you play? Obviously, you played football at a high level. Did you play baseball?
No, I played AAU basketball though. That was
with basketball. Let's say, because football is kind of hard because there's really not travel football. But say with AAU basketball, because that's huge too. I mean, what if one of your sons is like really high level, like, you know what I'm saying? That's gonna be tough.
Well,
what if
I
my
don't think
son
it has to be
really
tough
good at
though.
basketball?
Like, if they're good enough, does it matter?
Well, I think that's
Fair-
what's interesting
point.
is I agreed with you, John, but like I remember missing quite a few church services because of AAU basketball, but I also never ever questioned where my parents' priorities were.
Mhm.
So I don't know how you, like, I've asked them that before and I'll probably ask them a lot more going forward, but how do you balance that and how do you make that a reality? Because obviously we can't neglect meeting with the saints, but at the same time, like, you can't treat one day more special than others. They're all day to where we need to live like Christ. So I don't know. I don't have a straightforward answer to that besides what's the pattern of your life.
So
So,
to
like,
answer old girl's question, I think it's fine if you go do the competition. It's on Sunday, as long as you always, like, where your heart's at, and it's not an every single week thing, and it's not like you're not using competition as your God that you do every week instead of church. But if you have a competition and you do 3 competitions a year and it rolls into Sunday, I think you're fine. I actually have a fitness competition this week, and it is on Sunday. I'm gonna snatch 300 pounds for the Lord. Okay, that's what's gonna happen.
There you go. No, and there again, that can lead to opportunities. I mean, I don't know, the way that you act after you snatch 300, or the way, that can lead to opportunity. Like maybe since this Sunday right before the lift, maybe you take a knee and say a prayer. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never know.
Yeah, I'm a very calm and cool person when I'm lifting. I don't show a lot of emotion. like a rah or anything like that. I like
Yeah.
to. I've literally am like just the quietest person, and then I do it, and I'm very quiet afterwards too. I can't remember a PR where I was like, wow, like I can't remember one.
You're like the classic. You do this, then like, or
Yeah. No, like I mean, like I'll PR and it'll be like the most weight I've ever done in my life, and I've just about blew a blood vessel doing it, and then I'll drop the weight and be like, there it was, like that. That's it.
I think that's changed some, dude. Because in high school, you were more like rage guy.
That's not fair because high school you're very immature. In high school, I'm trying to peacock as much as I can peacock.
That was a comment on a good change, maturity wise,
Okay.
and
Wow.
spiritually.
Look at God. Man, high school was awesome.
Daniel would try to peacock too, but just in different ways, and it was always super, super funny.
I think every
He's a little bit awkward because he was homeschooled his first 2 years, or the first 2 years I remember of him, and it was just the most funny thing in the world. But I loved it. It made me love you, but it was just so funny. But
Y'all went to high school together.
Yeah. But we came it was like we're just very different people before we met each other.
I hated John at first. Hated him. I'm not going to say explicitly why I hated him, but I did not like him. So he grew on me in time.
I did not like bully you though. Did you take it as bullying?
I mean, you made me extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah, but like it wasn't. Not in a mean way. I don't think. I'm sorry for bullying you, man.
Dude, it's okay. Like you said, I was homeschooled. I'm awkward.
Yeah.
I don't know how this stuff works.
He was just awkward. They okay. We won't get into it, but in Florida, because I came from Florida to Illinois, and we had one group shower. Everybody showered together. Okay, you had spigots. You had spigot. You had a circle spigot, and you just all of us are in there at the same time.
See you at the pole.
You grew, yeah. You grew real comfortable with everybody real quick, and it was just a part of life. It's fine, but you got to. I'm 15, like in this shower. Like you stop getting scared of things, right? Come to Illinois, everybody's got their private shower. There's walls everywhere. Everybody wears a towel everywhere, and I didn't bring a towel because this is the locker room, and I just walked around, and a lot of people were really uncomfortable. And I was like, y'all just need to embrace what you got. You know what I mean? And like it was situations like that. It was just because of where we came from. You know what I mean? It wasn't a severe differences. I did not bully kids in high school. I loved everybody. Okay. I was friends with everybody. I had my drama kid friends. I had my football kid friends. I had my emo friends. I wasn't emo, but I was cool with the emo kids. I was nice to everybody.
I guess that's kind of how I was. I was the funny fat kid. Got along with everybody.
Funny fat kid, Brock.
Dude, I was a class clown.
I love that you were fat. You got these like you just I feel like you got a PTSD from it. It's funny because you're just so not, now, but like it's funny to see how you like contemplate things in your head.
Oh, dude, it was a struggle, man.
When did you want to not be fat? Like, was it an always thing and you just ate anyway, or
Really,
like, was there a moment? Was there a moment where you're like, I'm done. I'm getting it together.
High school, I would say it. That's really kind of when it. I don't know. I mean, all of them, all the fat people, they always say, oh, I don't care. Dude, you care, like, because I cared. Like I said, I didn't. but it bothered me because there was always those few people who, and it wasn't bullying, but they would always mess with you for being fat. You know what I mean? Like they would crack those jokes and blah blah blah, which I could take it because I would dish it right back, but it did, like, stuff like that would bother you when you, not saying depression or nothing like that, but like you would remember things like that. You know what I'm saying? So I would say high school was when it really started, like, and especially because, high school was when middle school, like, yeah, you have girlfriends and blah, blah, blah. But like high school is really when it starts. Like, people start dating each other. People start, the girls start getting pretty and blah, 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 blah. So I guess that's when it really started. And then, so when I graduated, I think I was like 265, somewhere 270, somewhere around in there, because I played offensive line, and I can remember in playoffs for whatever reason they made us all take our weights, and I think I was 262 our last weigh in. Well, then there was, I don't know, 5-6 months before we graduated. So then after that, I had to have surgery. I say it's like right at my tailbone. So like I had a big cyst, like under the skin. You couldn't see it from the outside. Long story short, I couldn't do anything for 4 months, 3 months, 4 months. Like I couldn't sit down in a chair like this. I had to just lay down. I couldn't exercise. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't get in a car. I mean, I literally sat on the couch or laid on the couch, played Xbox, watched Sons of Anarchy, ate McDonald's, and just got really fat, really, really out of shape. Because like in high school, I was always, I was fat, but like I was like an athletic fat kind of. Like I was flubbery fat for sure, but I played football.
Yeah, you're athletic fat. I got you.
I always played church league basketball, so like I would get out and do stuff. I was just fat. Well, this is when I got like country crock butter fat type deal.
E5
So I had to miss my first semester of college, and December of that would have been December of 13, January of 14. So I graduated high school in 13. So January of 14 is when I started losing weight, and then December of 13 is when I was at 300 pounds, and I was like,
wow,
that's when
he's like 6 foot for reference, Daniel. He's like 6 foot, 6'1".
Oh wow.
At that point, I was like, all right, dude, you gotta do something. Like, this is bad.
You saw a 3 on that scale. It hits you different.
Really bad. And I just January 1, I set a New Year's resolution, and
wow!
I mean, I went in. Like,
good for you.
In 6 months, I had lost like 80 pounds.
Wow, good for you, man.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of New Year's resolutions. I love those things.
Yeah, I do too. If you can make it to February, you're good.
We're just gonna let that go.
Like New Year's resolutions, Daniel?
I had some, but
I'm not a fan.
I haven't done much with them.
I don't like calling them New Year's resolutions, but I do like. I guess I like setting goals. Not necessarily at New Year's, but
like set like a yearly goal. Like it's a new year. This is what I want to accomplish in this year. I agree with that. I don't think that's a resolution. I almost think that's like planning out the year. Like, that's what we're gonna go do.
There you go.
The thing I don't like about the word resolution is I feel like that's automatically somebody's saying resolution, like they're not gonna keep it. Like it's just 2 or 3 weeks, and then we're gonna be back to normal. Dang, how'd we get on Fat Brock? That's wild.
I don't know. Fat Brock wants to come out, man. I think it's okay.
Oh, he's still in there for sure.
I want to learn more about Fat Brock. I think we need to talk about Fat Brock every time we're on.
It's funny. A lot of my friends from high school, like after I lost a bunch of weight, like years later, they're like, "Man, we miss Fat Brock. He was so much more fun."
Jeez.
I got Daniel is I very lucky with the like high school and like finding and like girls are getting pretty and stuff like that. He was very shy and then met a very shy girl and 1 for 1. First girl he ever talked to, he ended up marrying.
Let's
Want
go.
to know.
Yeah. First one he ever said,
Undefeated.
"Hello, my name is Daniel," because he didn't talk to anybody.
Dude, it was like, you want to talk awkward. If I had tapes on that and I had to rewatch them, I might gouge my eyes out.
She was just as bad though. So I feel like that makes it bearable because I feel like she met you on that level of awkwardness.
Yeah.
Is that fair? Which is why it didn't like get awkward for you guys.
What is this comment about?
What? Say wise explanation sort of works for football, but you drama. Oh goodness gracious. Bernie, I don't think you were in that club. I think we're just gonna let that go. I made no such romps.
That's funny.
All right, Brock, intro us into actually what we're talking about today. Since we the last 40 minutes.
Hey, have you seen? We'll get on the topic. I'm sorry, but have you seen the movie Greater?
I don't think so.
Dude, it is one of the best Christian movies I've ever seen.
Great.
And it's a football movie. Daniel, you should be ashamed of yourself. It's so much better than Facing the Giants. Although Facing the Giants, like, man, it gets you if you ride with it. It's the cheesiest thing in the world, but man, at the end, it does get you if you're like, if you rock with it, it gets you. No, it's called Greater, and it's a true story about Brandon Burlsworth. Do you know that name? You should know that name.
I should. Not well enough.
The best walk-on player in the country
Okay.
gets the Brandon Burlsworth Award.
Okay.
Like there's an award after him because he's a walk-on.
Oh, hold up. Is that the dude
Yes.
Does he go to Arkansas? Yes, that is good. That is very good. Yeah.
You've seen it. You know what I'm talking about. Daniel, you should watch this movie. It's on Netflix. I'm telling you, it's wonderful.
Okay.
He wears glasses, right?
Do not ruin it. Yes, you're on the right one. Yeah.
It's very good.
Okay.
I'll Fly Away.
Super good.
It is very good. Good family movie. Miranda can watch it. It's great.
Well, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. It reminded me of you so much.
Oh boy. I hope that's a good thing.
I was not with you in college. I wouldn't, but it did make me think of you. And you'll see why. You'll understand why.
Okay.
I think you'll love it, but I won't ruin it anymore. Go ahead. Jesus is King. Tell us about it.
Well, I mean, I think, that just kind of hit me earlier because like, and we hit on it a little bit like when we did the episode like right after the election, but like all this with the inauguration and all, it's kind of brought all those topics kind of back into the light. Like everybody was kind of quiet about politics for, I don't know what, the last 2 months or so. And then now, all the crazy far right people are back out. All the crazies on the left are back out. And I think a lot of times, and this, myself included, this is very obvious. Like, we've talked about it in the past, who I stand with, who John stands with, who I'm assuming Daniel stands with. But I think a lot of times we lose sight of who's really in charge. And because it's not that, I guess the first thing that really, so I watched the inauguration, I watched the speech and all, and one thing that really kind of got me was during his inauguration speech, like there was people in the crowd, like yeah, people were clapping and all, but I specifically remember it panned over to this one section, and there was two guys, or one guy specifically, like he was standing up like with his arms raised, and it was like you would see somebody in church like worshiping. And that just kind of struck me, like we've got to, and again, you know, we've also said before that you can't expect a non-Christian to act like a Christian, but the nation as a whole and Christians, like we've all got to realize that Trump's not the savior. You know, like he's our president. Yes, I believe it was a good move by the country, but we've got to realize that in the end, Jesus is king. You know, in the end, none of this really matters. You know, and that's something that's just been bothering me lately, because everybody's praising him and everybody's worshiping him and this and that. But then on the flip side, like you've got these people who also claim to be Christians, but they're throwing so much hate, whether it be hate towards Trump or hate towards the left. I mean, whatever it may be. But and a lot, the reason it bothers me is, like I said, these people are people who claim to be Christians, and it's just like what we talked about in our group message the other day. People using the Christian belief or the Christian name to justify sin, and I think that's what a lot of this boils down to, is you're using Jesus and using certain things in the Bible out of context is one of the biggest problems. But you're using something to justify something that it clearly says is sin. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm kind of going in circles, but that's kind of the biggest thing.
What are people justifying?
Like, for example, we didn't touch on it as much as a couple of the other topics, but the immigration stuff. Like a lot of people, and a few that I know that claim to be believers, are pushing the how can we show love to people, but we're deporting them, and they're using that against. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, did these people commit crimes?
Exactly. I mean, that's my point with the whole thing.
Are you not subjected to the government laws? We
Exactly.
talked about it. Yeah, I get what you're saying. We kind of got on it last week. But then, like, that's a wrap. That's done.
And
you're good Christian brother. You must have just slipped your mind. But it's all good. What's Caesar's is Caesar's. I'll show you right here. You know what I mean? It says it right here in this little thing. You remember that book? I think you abide by it, right? You're good, man. End of the conversation.
Yeah, no, I think that's what I have a hard time with, is deciding, is it worth even saying something, or do you just unfollow them and move on?
So, okay. You think this is coming from a non-Christian, but saying they're Christian, and then saying those things and using Christianity as a shield to say whatever you want to say, like just because of Trump.
Yep.
That okay. Yeah. Then I feel like you could just be like, that's not what the Bible says, and then that's it. If you follow Christianity, you abide by what the Bible says. That's where you get your rules from. That's what Like, that's what you're about. And if this person's not about that, then all you have to say is that. They cannot say anything about that if they're going to use Christianity as a shield.
You know, what's awesome, but also really frustrating about God is that he circumvents probably isn't the right word, but he's greater than any theology or box or ideology we can put him in. So those people that are like using the Bible to claim, hey, we're not loving this people group enough, you can point to a different part of scripture where no, God is love and God knows what love is more than anything, but here's where he's doing, this judgment, this justice, this, where it's like, would you call that loving? Like, here are his words on, again, I know this sin is picked on a lot, but it's very clear. Homosexuality, here's his words on that, just like his words on the other sin, like we're all deserving judgment. Then you can go to the other side and even talk about the stuff that we talked a little bit about last week, where like there's a sense of, I would say, like for me on my end, like pharisaical type thinking, where like, oh, I'm better than this person, I deserve salvation a little more, that's why I can't pray for their salvation because what they're doing is worse than me. And like that's obviously false too. God lays it out, he says it very clearly. So I think like Satan was a master at manipulating scripture to say whatever he wants, right? So it comes back to a good tree bears good fruit, and then being able to, can that person, when you approach them with the word of God, be like, oh, okay, I need to adjust, as opposed to be like, well, your word or your Bible is outdated and that's not what that really meant. And like, once they start getting in that, it's like, okay, I can't have a conversation with you. I think it does. Does that make a little sense? I guess what I'm trying to say.
Because I had a conversation with this specific person along those same lines, and that was literally their response. Well, you know that so and so wasn't even added to the Bible until 1967.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Like, dude, okay, I'm out. I love you, but I'm out.
And you're wrong. Like,
I think it's so interesting to see society just gravitate to, each of us has a desire in our hearts to worship something, whether that's God, whether that's ourselves, whether that's some gold image, whatever it is, right? But like, so to see these people do this, it's understandable in some ways, but other ways it's like you have this desire and you just fill it with the right thing. Come on, let's redirect it. Let's redirect it. And it's just, it's a shame to see how blinded so many are to that, unfortunately. Money, thank you. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
sorry, I'm working on things.
I understand your comment. I don't view those as one and the same, but that's a good thing to think about. I mean, what are your thoughts on Mr. Young's comment, Brock?
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of personally, I wouldn't put those two together.
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying. Do you think it's disrespectful when somebody doesn't put their hand over their heart?
No, I think it's disrespectful when you're not standing.
Oh, that's good. That burns me up. Dude, that's ridiculous.
I'm bad.
No, I don't have an issue with that particular instance. I mean, shoot, military, it's a salute, right? The whole time. It's just a gesture of I'm with this group.
Yeah, that is correct. I believe it says first you go to the person one on one. Then if that doesn't work, then you take a small group of believers, confront the person. If that doesn't work, then you take them in front of the church. I believe is biblically how I believe it says it in Matthew.
I know what passage you're talking about. I'm gonna try to find the actual quote itself because you're right the way you went about it. I'm pretty sure.
Well, also, going kind of bringing all of that full circle. I think that's also an issue that as a people that we have as a whole is we don't confront each other when we screwed up. We'll like just for an easy example, say John's on another podcast and says something out of line, like way out of line, something actually out of line. As a believer, it's kind of my responsibility not to do it on air in front of people, but it would be my responsibility to maybe shoot him a text like, "Hey, dude,
Like, what are you doing?"
That was a little sideways. Like,
Yeah.
think about the way that comes across. You know what I mean?
And I would take zero offense from that.
Yeah, and I don't think we do it enough. Personally, I know I don't. Like, I don't feel like we as Christians use that like we should.
Yeah, I think we're too scared of the whole, like, our society. Before I get into that, Matthew 18:15-18 was the passage. Exactly what you said, Brock. I think we're too scared in society to. Right now, I think we're too scared in American society. We want to be all loving, accepting, this and that, where we're even those in the church where it's like, look, you claim this, like, just put some fire under your butt type of thing.
To be fair, I feel like I don't have a ton of relationships where I feel like I'd be close enough to do that either.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Part of getting into good church, Sean.
That's fair. All right. Point, Daniel.
That's okay, dude. We were just church shopping. We're trying to get into one now too. So
no, you're good. Cape Bible Chapel spoiled us.
It sucks, dude, when you leave a really good one and then you just start like not drowning, but just kind of like treading water, hoping to find something to grab onto. It's just like,
and we've been to like 3 or 4. None of them are bad. It's just, I'm not. It feels like a chore, know.
Eventually, you just have to like pull the trigger and then get involved. I mean, we did that with the first one that we were with here, and having been in it for a certain amount of time and seeing a little more things, now we're like, okay, we got to leave.
So we did that with the first one we went to too. It's funny that you said that because the first one we went to, I'm like, I like it. It's a bigger church. The music's great. Like, I'm fine with the preacher. Like, all of it. Like we're like, let's go all in on it. And then that guy, like the main preacher, preached maybe 2 out of every 5 times, and I'm like, I didn't come here for this guy. And I honestly, like, you give everybody a chance, right? You do, right? It's like, it's not like you're not here just because of this guy. He's not the Pope, right?
Right.
I mean, you don't follow that anyway. But like, it's just, you want to learn from the same guy, But
how far are you from Waco?
Me?
That far?
Yeah. Like,
it popped in my head. There's a church that I listen to a lot.
Oh, okay. I was like, I'm not going to Waco.
Is it
JP?
Rock?
Do what?
Is JP the pastor there?
Yeah, Harris Creek.
Dude, my brother-in-law dang near worships that guy. Not really. He's a good guy.
He's a really good pastor, or he's a very good speaker. For me, he's easy to listen to.
I've heard good things about him.
Dude, hey, can we talk? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, how
Can
great
we
is
talk
this
about
guy?
what?
Let's talk about how great this guy is first.
No, I was done. He's just when I find a speaker that I enjoy listening to, I kind of stick. Like I'm personally I'm kind of weird about not pastors necessarily in person, but like listening to a podcast or listening to a sermon online. Like the person has to grab my attention pretty quick, and that church has done a pretty good job with me personally as far as being able to listen consistently.
The Daniel brought up mentioned a guy to me that I really like. I've listened to maybe 4 of his sermons. It's Stonebridge Bible Church, and they're on YouTube, like super easy to access. And honestly, Daniel's the reason why we haven't picked out a church, because I've just been listening to this guy. So
I'm sorry.
it's all his fault. Yeah,
That's where we're going now, dude.
all of the blame is absolved from me. I didn't do anything.
Yeah, there you go. Victim mentality. That's
Can we talk about the Bishop girl?
yes.
Let's talk about that. Let's do that.
I hadn't heard a lot, but like I heard it was bogus. That's about
Oh
what I heard.
my good. Let's bring it up. Brock, do you know how to do that? Please
Yeah.
tell me you can figure that out. That would be amazing.
Let's see. What was her?
I don't know how to do it. That's why I'm hoping that you can.
And Mr. Young, I might disagree with your comments a little. I think it's very hard to judge the hearts of others. That's why we can't, like, we're told not to. It's you look at their fruit, but it's really hard to judge the heart.
Can you hear Abby? Yeah, Abby, you gotta calm it down, girl.
How's she doing?
Dude, she's out, knocked out, but she's just making this little sound.
Enjoy the first 2 weeks. That will disappear.
Can y'all
Yeah, they
see-
sleep through everything. It is
Can y'all see my
wild.
face?
I'm like, yeah, I'll take a shift, dear. Go to sleep. This is the easiest thing in the world. We got her in this little like worm looking thing where they're like, I forget what it's called, but it's like a swaddle.
Let me make
Well, let's listen to this girl. Go ahead.
Are we good? Can
Yeah.
y'all see it? Hear it?
Nice job, Brock. Oh,
Dude,
you're getting better.
Dude,
Look.
you're getting me jacked up. Let's freaking go, dude. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah,
one final plea, Mr. President. Millions have put their trust in you. And as you told the nation yesterday, you have felt the providential hand of a loving God. In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families, some who fear for their lives.
Okay, we're gonna stop her right there for just a second. Okay.
We're gonna put the deep analysis on it.
Okay, so obviously so I don't struggle with homosexuality. I don't struggle with being transgender. I don't really know how to say that. But I do not believe that there are people that struggle with that, or people that live in that are literally fearing for their lives. In maybe a extremely rare, extreme case, maybe. But you can't. I don't think that there's anybody nobody's gonna die because you're gay. Not here. Not in the United States.
Not in today's world either. But
No.
and also, if you are fearing for your life, then you are thinking misguidedly. Whatever you're listening to, like, they are misleading you. Because if you sincerely feel that way, there's something wrong that's happening that's making you feel that way. Because it's not the truth.
Well, dude, just to comment on that, let's just like the propaganda at play in today's media is wild. Like, how can you have a group that's Queers for Palestine?
Makes
Really,
sense.
it makes no sense. What are they going to do if you go over there? They're going to toss you off buildings.
No, they're not, Daniel.
Yes, they
They're gonna
are,
cut your
John.
head off.
No,
They
well,
don't
okay.
toss people off buildings. They throw them out in the middle of the little center and they cut their head off. We need to be accurate if we're going to talk about this.
They
I
actually
don't want misinformation of how we're going to kill the queers in Palestine.
They actually do toss people off buildings. You should look at it a little bit. But yes, the point's the same. Okay. I just like, yeah, John. To your point, I agree with you. You're listening to the wrong stuff.
I didn't mean to throw you off. You were getting animated though. It made me smile.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Look, Kenneth, it's interesting you say that. Stonebridge Bible Church. I'm gonna hype it up. The pastor.
This comment right here, is this what you're talking about?
Yes, the sermon last week dealt directly from the word. If you want to check it out, it's actually not Johnny talking; it's a different guy, but he did a really good job. So Johnny's on paternity leave right now. He just had his third kid.
Big Stonebridge Bible Church guys here. I think we're like the number one endorsement. They should sponsor our podcast. I'm gonna reach out to them and ask them if they want to sponsor.
I'm gonna have to start listening.
What, dude? Okay, listen. Okay, I'm gonna write in the private chat. Do you see the private chat? Where the private chat is? I'm gonna write in there how much money I make a month from WOD Prep. I'm not gonna put it in the other podcasts because they're a little bit more. But what I make from WOD Prep, if we can get in touch with Stonebridge Bible Church, that we could get a sponsor from them, and I would make more money from this podcast. You would make more money from this podcast than I make from WOD Prep, and they have 80,000 subscribers. Because, all right, ready? I'm gonna show you. This is what I made last month. Boom. rocking in it, man. I'm rocking in it. That's just from WOD Prep, but you can't tell me they wouldn't give us more a month to keep us going. All our technology.
Dude, I can't comment on that. I don't know.
You're gonna have to learn how to get sponsors for your physical therapy podcast, Daniel.
I'm good. I'll figure it out someday. Okay.
Okay.
All right, back to the video. Here's the second problem that I see. Okay. Gay, lesbian, whatever else she said, transgender, children. That's the second problem. Children. That is a parent problem. That is not a child problem.
And you know who would 100% would agree with that is the Glinton girls.
Yes.
Straight up, they would agree 100%.
And they're a perfect example of proof that we can disagree and still love each other.
100%.
I don't hate either one of them. There's absolutely no hate in my heart for either one of them. I mean, I don't.
Cool, honestly. The one time I listened to John talk with them on their podcast.
Dude, they're great. They're great. And they don't have to believe what we believe. And I'm saying it's like what Brock said, it's just a perfect example of we don't have to be enemies with each other. We can love each other, even though we disagree.
Yeah, we're called to. That's what being a Christian is. That's one of, you know what I'm saying? That's a little bit. I said that wrong, but you know what I'm saying? Like that's a part of what we're supposed to be different, but we're supposed to love. First two commandments.
Dude, I got
love your God. Love your neighbor as yourself. What was you saying, John? Sorry.
I got so mad on this. I follow a few people from the Grid League, and this guy is in the Grid League, and like just so I can get the hang of how stuff works, right? And he posted a story, and he was talking about Trump being elected and how people are all emotional about it. And he goes, and like, I don't know how as a Christian you could vote for Trump. And then he's like, Jesus was about bringing the poor people up and bringing the rich people down to their level, like equality. That's the whole message of the Bible. That's what he was about. And I was just so infuriated that like, that's like, and like, he's like trying to guilt trip people with that, saying that. And it made me so mad. I like,
that's
I put my phone
example.
away and I just went to drink some Ovaltine. I was so mad. I needed to calm down because it was just very misguided. Go ahead. I don't know why I was thinking about that. This girl made me think of that.
I agree, 100%.
Thank you, Mom. It kind of hurts me every time you guys comment because I see like we have 5 viewers and I know my family's 3 of them, and it brings my heart. I guess like we're kind of getting people. It's like we're not really. It's just 2 of you decided to log on today. You know what I'm saying though? like I'm like, oh, we're kind of got people today, and then it's like, no, it's just Destiny, my wife, and then my parents. And then that's it. That's it. And Kenneth, of course.
Kenneth and Bernie.
Bernie just hops in the comment and gets out of here.
All right, let's keep going.
And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meat packing plants.
Dude, that's so racist. That is so racist. Hang on. Let's listen to that again.
Pick our crops and clean our... The people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meat packing plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation.
Pause. Yeah, that's pretty rough. That's pretty rough.
They may not be citizens or have the proper documentation.
Yeah,
So you're talking about people from Mexico.
Yeah.
They're picking your crops. They're washing your dishes. Dude,
yeah, they are. Yeah, tell them what they're doing.
Dude, they would have crucified him. Like you see how much of a double standard there is.
Trump was
It's
listening
exactly
to this.
It's exactly what I texted you earlier, John. It's such a double standard.
Dude, there was a article on the New York Times like last day or two, and the title was basically something like, after Trump passed the natural birth executive order that basically banned being a citizen if you're just born in the U.S., right? And the New York Times article title was basically, what are these undocumented immigrants going to do with their unborn children? Dude, the New York Times has never referred to unborn children as unborn children, except in this case. It's always a fetus or clump of cells, or like, it's like, oh, so it just changed to whatever you want it to be. It's such a double standard. Like, you have to be able to sift through those lies.
Dude, that's crazy. Like I can't
It's kind
believe
of
that. I didn't see
genius.
that the first time.
It's kind of genius that Trump chose to like get Elon Musk on his team and Joe Rogan on his team, and like he's like, okay, y'all think you own the media?
Yeah.
Like this is the people who are actually running things, and like got all of them with him. Bezos, Musk, Rogan. Who else he's got? He's got Zuckerberg. And like, I'm not saying those are great people, but as far as like spreading what information you want to spread, those guys have far more power than the New York Times or the Washington Post. And like they might not in the past. It's just, I think it was a very genius move to get those guys, those 4 guys. Like they control every type of communication. and he got them all, right? Like, it's a pretty smart move on his part. I'm just thinking like politically smart, not with any like Christianity behind it. I'm just admiring the move.
It's the modern media for you, man.
All right.
What a nonsense we can hear.
If do they ever pan
But
to
the
JD
vast-
Vance on this?
No, I think this one is just her, but he was rolling his eyes.
Dude,
the whole time.
JD Vance, like Trump and Vance got to listen to this thing, right? And JD Vance is sitting here, like, and then he like looks at his wife and he's like, just the whole time. It's the funniest thing in the world. All right, go
I
ahead.
mean,
Play.
seriously, just for a second, like, can you imagine having to listen to this live, knowing that you have cameras on your face that millions of people are going to watch?
Dude, he's listened to worse. He sat through that sham trial in New York.
Dude, if this was I would use this as an example of why you shouldn't be Catholic.
Yeah, or go to an Episcopal church.
Yeah, she's not Catholic, bro.
Yeah, but that's where all that stuff comes from.
Oh, that's a harsh generalization.
I'm generalizing hard.
That's a really harsh
I'm
generalization.
still doing it.
Because I would argue that it's probably more on the Protestant side.
Oh, nah. No, sir. I've never met a bishop.
Methodist, Lutheran,
I've never met a bishop.
two of the most liberal sects, and they're both Protestants.
This is the first bishop I'm thinking of right here. This girl.
Thank you, Bernie.
I'm generalizing.
Vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes and are good neighbors. They are faithful.
Okay, if you don't have documentation, how do you pay taxes?
That's what I was wondering. Like, is it just the withholdings, or because I thought they could only pay them under the table because they are illegal?
No, they pay like the sales tax when they buy things.
Oh, that's some bull crap.
Good,
That-
good Lord.
I wish I only had to pay sales tax. That'd be good.
Are faithful members of our churches and mosques, synagogues, wadara, and temples. I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away, and that you help those who are fleeing war zones and persecution in their own lands to find compassion and welcome here. Our God teaches us that we are to be merciful to the stranger, for we were all once strangers in this land.
Dude, did you see that? It's like she heard somebody making fun of her or something.
Dude, it's a media stunt, dude. Oh my goodness, where do you? I mean, that just I don't see how you could. How do you listen to that and you're like, I agree.
Oh, dude, there's half of America are like, man,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
this woman
on
gets it.
social media, it's unreal.
She's so brave for saying this in front of Trump
Yeah,
and Vance like that. Like, that's what she's getting.
That's the problem with Christianity is we've watered it down so dang much, trying to think, oh, we got to take care of this person. We got to love this person. Guess what love means? Love means you tell people the truth when they don't want to hear it. What's sitting right there. So it's just like, yeah, I think it's the church's fault, quite frankly. Like, why is it so hard to find a good church? Why is 1 out of every 100 churches the one that's actually teaching the word, actually hitting you in the face every Sunday you show up?
That's a good question. But does Paul say anything about it?
About what specifically? Christians being watered down?
No. Like, he got around to a few churches where he's like, hey, this church is doing it right. Why aren't y'all?
Well, there's some that he reserved much harsher judgment for. Like,
Well, I know, but everybody got judgment. I'm just wondering if there was one that was like, hey, y'all are doing it.
like just encouragement mostly.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, and I
wouldn't say there was any that was just encouragement. I would say
can't.
the Galatians might be the closest, but he still has in there. He says, "You foolish Galatians."
he's still really mean about it.
insane because there's nobody that has it figured out. So you should never be at the point where you're just like,
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
We should figure out what's wrong with like the people that we like then. Where's John MacArthur lacking? Like, let's just do a deep dive and like really critique this man.
Okay. Well,
Or Johnny. Let's critique Johnny. Let's critique
dude, you know who would be
Francis
great?
Chan.
You know who would be great to have on with this? Would be my dad. He knows way too much about this.
About preachers.
More about like the different types of theological viewpoints and where each one is false, in the Bible, like where each one falls short.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of that stuff's pretty obvious, though. Yeah,
not completely.
I mean, you just named off. What did you say? Episcopal, Lutheran, Methodist. I already see the hole in every one that you just said right here. I'm looking at it.
Oh, wait, what's your point?
I'm saying I think you can probably pretty quickly. I'm not doubting. I'm not doubting what you're saying. You're probably meaning like way more complex, and it would be a very fun conversation. I just think in general, you could probably tell pretty quickly holes in different sects of churches.
Yeah, like glaring ones. Yeah, I'm talking stuff like, and forgive me because I'm not educated on this, but like the difference between Reformed theology and like a holistic biblical perspective and Calvinism and like that type of stuff,
and like predestination and stuff like that.
That's one example. Yeah. So,
no, I feel you. I'm not super knowledgeable either. I like knowing the history of everything, but like I don't know it in depth.
What I'm trying to say though is like God's so far like beyond any box we can put him in that whenever we try to put him in a box, there's something wrong with it.
Yeah. No, I feel you. I agree with that. It's it's a little bit like I agree that I can't fathom it. Does that make sense?
Well,
I agree that I don't know anything.
If you could I'm with you. If you could completely fathom all of God, then he's not God because he's no better than you.
Yeah.
But
and that's why the Mormons are wrong.
The Mormons are wrong on several levels.
They got a few things.
First off, why do you trust a guy that said, "Oh yeah, I went to the desert and got this deal, and nobody else can know that
they were pretty cool looking glasses, Daniel. Like you didn't see how cool these glasses were." What's the thing where you look at it, you look in it, and it's like all the colors, and you can mix it all up? What's that thing called? A kaleidoscope?
Is that what
yeah, he had like kaleidoscope lenses, and they were it's the first of its kind, and they were it hooked everybody, swindled everybody, and then he was like, "Now look at this book," and then it's just a wrap.
Not to pick on a religion, but dude, there's some dark stuff with Mormonism. Like,
yeah.
Dark stuff.
You think they're darker than Catholics? I don't know why I'm stuck.
No, every sect has some because we're all messed up human beings.
No, I wouldn't rank the two.
What do you mean?
Which one do you think has worse stuff?
Oh, I mean,
in its past, Mormons got like a lot of like funky cult things.
Yeah, I don't think you can rate it because both have horrendous things.
Well, like, I kind of want to like really do a deep dive and figure out which one's worse. And I know that's not productive at all.
That is so anti-biblical, John. Every sin is the same.
Yeah, but you know, like it's for me, I'm not God. It's not the same to me.
I would say this Episcopal bishop is up there. She's gonna give them a run for their money.
I mean, if she's willing to give puberty blockers to kids, then yeah, I'd put her up there.
Dude, I mean, she said children.
Yeah. All right, 20 seconds left. Actually, 30.
May God grant us the strength and courage to honor the dignity of every human being, to speak the truth to one another in love,
Mm.
and walk humbly with each other and our God for the good of all people, good of all people in this nation and the world.
You preach it, girl.
Amen.
Amen. Yeah, you did that, girl.
Yeah.
Her pauses were so dramatic.
You know, if I never looked at this person like I watched it with my eyes closed, I bet I could tell you what kind of haircut she had.
100%. 100%.
Like if you were like, all right, now just guess, what do you think her hair looked like?
I would have guessed the wrong hair color, though. I'll be honest.
You would have said blonde.
No, I would
I
have
would
said
say like blue.
pink or blue. Yeah.
Well, dude, she's a bishop. We got rules. We can't be that crazy.
Like a strand, you know, like
Just a little strand. I got you. Little braid, little blue braid coming out of there.
Oh, I gotta stop, man. This is mean.
Yeah, you're.
That is mean.
You're
But I
really
mean,
mean.
come on, man. Like you got to think there. She is leading a church of Christians that believe that they're on the way to heaven.
Yeah, it's pretty evil if you really think about it like that.
Yes.
Like legitimately evil.
Yeah.
Which I mean,
Now,
that made me sad. I was having fun making fun of her, and now I'm sad. Thank you, Brock.
Let me ask y'all this. We'll close with this. So you know how it says in the Bible that those that cause a child to stumble, God, what's the passage?
Oh, little ones.
Like what you're saying, the little ones to stumble or whatever. Do you think? Yes, sin is a sin, but how much greater of a deal do you think it's going to be to God? I don't even know if I should say this. Like the people who are allowing, like you said, the puberty blockers and the transgender surgeries and all this, like you're literally ruining a child's life that doesn't really know what they're doing. Like how much more of a,
And who have no choice.
because it's, I mean, a sin is a sin, yes, but I feel like because it says, you know, I just got done going through Revelation, and it says that you're going to be judged by what you do, by what you've done. So there's got to be levels to your judgment and your punishment, you know?
I feel like if you're going to hell, it's the same hell.
You're getting a little bit into Dante's Inferno, you're saying?
Yeah, I don't think the Ninth Circle is there with Hitler and Stalin, and then
True.
the Episcopal bishop.
There are passages though that like suggest that different people will have different like rewards in heaven,
but not punishments in hell.
Fair enough.
Would they not? I don't think you can apply that because one has the other.
No, I got you.
It's still freaking heaven.
Yeah.
We're still walking on the same golden street.
So your question is, do you think? Yeah, I got you. I don't. Yeah, I mean,
And I think as I was
like when they get thrown in the lake of fire the second time over, everybody's gone.
You know what's interesting, kind of going with this, not necessarily with hell, but there is one sin in the Bible where like it says they will not be forgiven. It's blasphemy of the Holy Spirit. What exactly is that?
The Episcopal bishop.
Yeah, no, that's blasphemy, right? What?
Well, it's interesting. I'm by no means saying I know this at all, and I think this is very.
Where does it say that at, Daniel?
Yeah, I think it's Hebrews. I'll find it.
Yeah.
I'll find it. Make sure I'm not preaching heresy over here. Sorry.
Mark 3:29. Matthew 12:30. Whoever is not with me is against me. Whoever does not gather with me scatters. Therefore, I tell you, people will be forgiven for every sin and blasphemy, but blasphemy against the Spirit will not be forgiven.
There you
go. Okay. So blasphemy, period, can be forgiven, but blasphemy against the Spirit, that's a hard one. What?
Yeah.
That's a hard one.
So
Yeah.
there's a lot of digging that we'd have to do to even come close to an answer, but
Ooh, you want to do that next time?
we could try. But
I guess we could start with that, and like obviously we'll go somewhere else if stuff happens. Usually we go somewhere else, but like that could be our start.
Blasphemy.
Yeah, let's all figure out what that means, and then we'll see if we can we'll congregate and see if we come to a conclusion.
all right.
Like Daniel does his stuff, I'll do my stuff, Brock, you do your stuff, and then we'll see if we looked up the same stuff. Okay,
that'll
this
be
isn't a competition. Don't come with 18 freaking sources, Daniel. Just figure out what it means to you.
I think
He's gonna hammer down.
I think Bernie's on the right path.
Blasphemy of the Holy Spirit.
But what is
the final rejection of God's
what is
grace.
the ultimate and final rejection? Like,
We'll have to find out next week.
Ooh.
I feel like you could say, I feel like it needs to get talked through a little bit.
Yes, I agree.
I think if you're scared of it, Mom, then you're probably not committing it.
Next week. Blasphemy.
Stay tuned next week. Don't even comment because that's what we're starting off with. So we're not going to start off with whatever you comment. I'm just kidding. Like and subscribe. Leave us comments if you want us to talk about anything. We will do our due diligence. All right. You guys got anything for this week? I got a big fitness competition. I'm coaching a lot of people. I'm doing it. I have tested the workouts, and I kind of think I am screwed. But we'll see. Grid League body's coming in strong. I
got nothing special.
I'm hoping everybody's screwed because like I saw the workouts and they're pretty. They should be pretty good for me. And I did them, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like I'm getting capped, like on almost all of them. So I'm hoping the workout's just really hard and everybody's getting capped, right? But we don't know until we get there. But Daniel, anything from you? Chiefs or Bills?
Oh, I sure hope the Bills, man.
Brock?
I don't want to say it, but I think the Chiefs.
Well, I mean, who do you want?
I would like the Bills because
I think everybody
Chiefs,
thinks
but I
the
think
Chiefs.
the Chiefs.
Daniel, you're not a Taylor Swift fan?
I used to be, not anymore.
Yeah,
Dude,
she's playing God. She's playing God to a lot of
Be
people.
quiet.
I no. I'm totally with you on that. I think the obsession of Taylor Swift has gotten really out of hand. Like
I
with
just don't like her music anymore.
a lot of people.
There's a song here or there that's good, man. But she used to be like
I feel like I know her songs.
good.
Though.
It was much less. Now it's like you know what she's talking about.
Yeah, old Taylor Swift was way better. I agree. Fearless album, superb.
Taylor, yes, Andy Reid's a great guy. I can give you that. He's also Mormon, I think. So
Did you hear that, Taylor? Andy Reid's a great guy. I didn't know that.
I've heard nothing but good things about him. Nothing.
He's not afraid to eat McDonald's every now and again. I want the Bills to win, but I would not be mad if the Chiefs won.
Dude, I'm a big Josh Allen fan.
I am too. Dude, he's winning me over. Like, did you see where he early clapped his coach's speech?
No.
Oh, see, you don't even see like the good stuff. Like you're just a fan. Like because
Just
you don't
watch him play, dude. I like the way
I know I got you. Yeah, because he doesn't have Instagram, so he didn't see anything. He never sees anything. His coach is giving a speech, and then he's like he pauses, and then Josh Allen's like, yeah, and it wasn't the end of the speech, and then nobody claps at all, and he goes, oh. And this is at the end of their win against the Ravens. Like it's the greatest of. It's so funny.
Oh, that's funny.
No, Josh Allen. I like Josh Allen a lot too. And there's a guy who's good friends with me. He's from Buffalo. Went to the University of Buffalo. Like diehard Bills fan. Like how I am with the Vikings, he is the Bills. And I almost want it more for him than I want anything else. Does that make sense?
They've had so many heartbreaks.
Yeah, I mean, no, I feel their pain, but if the Chiefs won, then I definitely want the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. I like history.
No,
I like history.
no.
I do. I know.
Dude, they're the Patriots of today.
I know, and I'm a big Tom Brady fan, man.
I mean, I can.
Thomas Edward Patrick Brady.
No, sorry.
There's only one other quarterback whose middle name is Patrick. Do you know who that quarterback is?
No.
Josh Allen.
Nice.
I know that means nothing. But all right. We'll get out of here. All right. Till next time, guys.